Hi folks, my name's Luke Finn and I help dads avoid unnecessary divorce and reignite their relationship with their wives. So today on this video I'm going to be covering how can you save your marriage when your wife has completely checked out. Now make sure to stick around to the end to get the opportunity to enroll in my free masterclass. In the masterclass you'll get the chance to diagnose your marriage and see what are the chances of actually reconciling, and you'll also get to learn the number one hidden roadblock preventing you from reconciling with your wife. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So to get started guys, I first off want to honor you for investing time in improving your relationship by watching this video. So the good news is I want to start off on a positive note, and the positive note is you can save your marriage on your own. Unfortunately there's a myth going around that it takes two to save a marriage. Maybe you've heard it before. It takes two to tango. And guys, this is just simply not true. It only takes one person to initiate positive change to help you both reconcile. And you can see this even with couples that are both trying to work on the marriage. Usually there's one person that's taking the lead to initiate change. So you can be that person to initiate that change. Now I want to give you a little bit of context as we move through this video about what's been happening in your marriage. So for a lot of you watching this, it's probably been a big shock. Maybe it came out of the left field. You weren't expecting this, that your wife was going to say she's done and she's not in love with you anymore. But the fact is guys, this has been coming a long time. From my clients, this can be from what I've heard from my clients, it can be anywhere between 3 to 7 years of your wife being unhappy. And I know it's difficult for you right now, but this has been a long time coming. Your wife has wanted you to change. So I want to give you a little bit of context now about what's happened in your marriage so you can gain some awareness around why you've ended up here with your wife. And what I've done is I've developed the downward spiral. It's 4 phases in a downward spiral. We're going to go through that right now. It starts off with phase 1, which is the best friend. Now, the best friend phase is not like, this is not your aim where you want to be at. This is already where it's starting to go downhill. You want to have a relationship that is much more connected and much more intimate than this first phase. But a lot of people, I would say a majority of people, find themselves in this best friend phase. And how do you know when you're in this best friend phase? It's usually when you've got kids, you're looking after the kids, all the attention is going to the kids, you don't have much time for each other, there's still fondness for one another, you love each other, but the sex life is dwindling, there's not so much passion, but you guys are generally happy and content. And what you'll see here is the man is in front in this presentation, because I believe as men we should be leading the relationship. And that's really important guys, to take leadership and create the marriage that you want. So from phase 1, from best friend, after a certain amount of time, it goes down into, further downward spiral into the roommate. And you can see here the man's drifted further apart from his wife. And here you know you're in the roommate phase. Usually the symptoms that you're in the roommate phase are your wife isn't paying much attention to you. She's more involved on her phone than interacting with you. You come home in the evenings and you stick on Netflix and she's sitting on one side of the couch and you're sitting on the other side of the couch, and that's your quality time. You're not interacting with each other and you guys are basically drifting apart. And from this phase, roommate, you're starting to get a lot more conflict as well. You're starting to have more fights that are not getting resolved. So basically this conflict and resentment is building up in the relationship already in phase 2 of roommate. And this leads on to the third phase, which is where your wife says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So she's been wanting change, she's wanted you to change, and it hasn't happened, and now she's just like, I don't know what else to do. You've been emotionally disconnected from me, I wanted to solve problems, and it hasn't happened. So she's now saying, I've just lost the love, the passion's gone, and she's wondering why should she even bother with this marriage. And this leads us unfortunately then to the final phase, which is phase 4, which is she wants a divorce, and here you can see the man is on his own, and the marriage is over because the problems were not resolved during this whole downward spiral. So that'll give you a little bit of context about what's happened in your marriage. Maybe you can take a moment to reflect and see where you're at in that downward spiral. So the thing is guys, your wife has wanted you to change. Like I said, this just didn't happen overnight. She wanted you to change and you didn't change because let's be honest, sometimes we just take it for granted. We get complacent. We think our wives are going to be just there for us forever, right? But that's not the case. And now that you really want to change, she doesn't believe you. She's known you for like maybe 10 to 20 years. She knows you really, really well, right? And she's wanted you to change in the past. It hasn't happened. So now she just doesn't even believe it's possible for you to change. And that can be really frustrating for you because you're trying to make things better. You're trying to change. You're taking efforts to show her that you've changed, but she just doesn't believe it. So now that we've covered that and you've got a little bit more awareness around what's happened in your marriage, now you're going to ask me, Luke, so how can I actually save my marriage? And that's what we're going to cover now. And it basically comes down to, guys, 3 P's to save your marriage. You need 1 is patience, 2, perseverance, and 3, you need a proven process. So let's go into that in a little bit more detail here. Patience. You need to be kind to yourself, guys. So you're going through a tough time. You're going through probably one of the biggest storms in your life. It's a difficult time. You need to be kind to yourself and look after yourself. Don't be beating yourself up. Some men be like, oh, I should be doing better. Why didn't I do something earlier? Look, it's happened now. The most important thing is that you're on watching videos, looking to get more information on how you can improve. So be kind to yourself and support yourself. Also, what you need to do is stop forcing the agenda. It doesn't help when you start talking to your wife saying, hey, let's talk about the relationship, or when are we going to talk about the relationship, or how do you see the future? When you push the agenda, all you do is push her further away. So you got to give her space. And what you want to do is just focus on yourself. Focus inwards on yourself. Don't be looking out towards her for approval. Focus on yourself. You know there's been behaviors there that have caused this issue in the marriage, this disconnect that she now said she's not in love with you. So focus on improving yourself. And finally, look, this is a process. It's going to take time. You need patience. It's not just gonna, this, like I said before, it's taken years for you to get to this point in your marriage. And it's going to take a bit of time. So thankfully, it's not going to take years to reconcile with your wife, but it's going to take time and it's a process. So be patient. So you're also going to need, the second P is perseverance. So your wife doesn't believe you can change, right? So don't be expecting that she's going to give you a pat on the back when you're like trying to show her like you're looking after the kids more, cleaning up more around the house, buying her gifts, going on holidays with her, and you're like hoping to see some kind of glimmer of hope. Guys, she's feeling manipulated when you're doing these things, and she doesn't believe that you're going to really change and change for the long term, for the future. And basically, she's going to try everything to get you to stop. She's not going to give you a little pat on the back, oh, well done, I see your changes, you're doing great. She's actually going to try and stop you because she wants to, like, for herself, to confirm that it was the right decision to end the marriage. She's going to be trying to stop you, so she's going to demotivate you and say that you're not changing. So you need to be perseverant and like focus on yourself rather than what your wife is actually saying. And you need to detach from her and the external situation, because what can happen is men end up on this roller coaster because they're so focused on their wife and what she's saying and is she going to see how I'm changing, that you're just going up and down depending on how she is. You need to get focused on yourself, detached from her, because she's not going to try and help you in this. Focus on yourself and improve yourself so you can start to make steady progress. So the final P, number 3, is a proven process. So you're now patient, you've got perseverance, you're not focusing on her anymore, and you're focusing on yourself, and you're clear on why you're making these changes to become a better version of yourself. The final thing you need, though, is a proven process. Trying to reconcile with your wife using trial and error, it just doesn't work. It's painful. You know this. You try to take 1 step forward and you end up taking 2 back. It's really painful because these are uncharted waters. You've never gone through this before. It's really, so a lot of uncertainty, and it's very, very challenging for you at the moment. A proven process helps you avoid the common pitfalls and gives you a step-by-step process on how to reconnect with your wife. So you don't have to go through this whole thing of trying to walk through a minefield and then the bomb blowing up and you getting knocked over and getting knocked backwards. A proven process helps you to avoid these pitfalls, these mistakes that most men make when they're trying to reconcile with their wife. and allows you to make steady progress with their wife. And this allows you to confidently and powerfully move forward, even when your wife has completely checked out of the marriage. So the proven process that I've developed is called the A.R.C system. And now A.R.C is an acronym. A stands for awareness. So we're working a little bit on awareness today, guys, on what's happened in your marriage. Why are you at where you're at right now? If you don't understand the root problem, it's very difficult to actually find a solution. So the first part of my system is awareness, understanding the root problem and what you can do to move forward and make steady progress and solve that problem. Or is then release. You want to release the behaviors that have caused issues in your marriage. So maybe you were angry, maybe you're emotionally disconnected, maybe you're jealous. Whatever those behaviors were, you need to release them. And I have the most holistic approach for rapidly releasing these behaviors for when your wife tests you, because she's going to test you. When you start reconciling with her, she's going to be testing you, and you need to pass those tests with flying colors. With this process, you literally release these old behaviors, so when she tests you, they're not there. You don't have to use a mindset or try and focus your mind on how to talk with her. You're literally a different person and a better person after going through the system. And finally, C stands for cultivate. Cultivating a new skill set. How do you speak with your wife? How do you communicate effortlessly with your wife? When she's angry, how do you take the fire off what she's saying, get her to calm down and feel understood so you guys can find a solution together? So that's the A.R.C system, and this A.R.C system is helping hundreds of men reconcile with their wives. If you'd like to know more about this, as we're now coming to the end of this video, I want to invite you to my free masterclass. In the masterclass, I'm going to help you diagnose your marriage and learn if it's possible for you to reconcile. You're going to learn the number one reason why your wife has checked out of the marriage, the hidden roadblock that's preventing you from reconciling, and you're going to be able to start applying this A.R.C system I was just talking about to begin the reconciliation process. So, if this is something now you'd like to do, I promise you get the opportunity. The link to the masterclass is down below in the description. You can click on the link down below in the description to join the masterclass. And if you haven't done already, I'd also like I'd like to invite you to my marriage support group for dads. I'd like to invite you to this wonderful community of dads who are going through the same thing as you, that are using the A.R.C system to steadily make progress with their wife and reconnect with their wives. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you got any questions at all, just post them down below in the comment section. And if you found the video useful, do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all my new videos, just make sure to subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.